Hello YouTube and welcome to this video on how to install Cisco Unified Communications Manager 11.5 for home or lab use. This is an updated version from the video I made a few years ago, and based on some of the comments and feedback, thought I'd make a new one just to cover the couple extra steps. And apparently I had some assumptions on a few steps that some people that were following it step by step, we're a little confused on. So I'll try to touch base on those as we come across it. So for starters, just to set the expectations, is compared from version 8.6 to 11.5. Basically anything from version 9 and up, they no longer allow you to have indefinite demo licenses. So when you do a fresh install, you're going to get a 60-day demo included, and then you can also download a free demo license at 6 months. So essentially you get 8 months for free, where you can make as many changes as you want, and then after that point you have to either reinstall or be happy with your changes and not be able to make any more. So first thing I thought I would do is we'll go through. I just downloaded the OVA template and the upgrade file, and again we'll make the upgrade file bootable so we don't have to do incremental, like if you have an install for version 8, 9, 10, or even 11, and you can download these upgrades, but instead of having to do incremental, we're just going to make it bootable so we can do a fresh install and not have to go through that incremental process. So, and you don't have to actually use the OVAs. I'll go through some of the settings with them, but all you need to know is what the minimum settings are for it to actually function. And another thing is we shouldn't have to do the hardware bypass, because all these images require virtualization now. So you shouldn't have to do that. And also on this one, on the previous video, we built it in VMware Workstation. This time we're going to do it on ESXi, because I don't have VMware Workstation on this machine. So to begin, let's go ahead and make this bootable. So I'm going to open up the ISO with Ultra ISO, and you can see that this is currently not bootable. And I'm going to choose the Generate Boot table and load a boot file. BIF file, and you want to extract a boot BIF from like CentOS or Red Hat version 6 or later. If you use version 5, version 5 will work on the version 8 and lower, but version 9 and up you need a newer BIF file, otherwise Linux won't boot properly into the application. So now that we have this bootable, we'll go ahead and save as, and I'll just give it a new name in case we need this for something. Just name it boot. Okay, so now that we have this saved, we can go ahead and close this out. We don't need this anymore. And we'll go over to our ESXi client and choose Deploy OVF. Now again, this is just for demonstration purposes. If you don't have the OVA, that's alright. You can actually build these manually. So on the disk it's saying it's going to be 110 gig if we use the thick provision. So we'll hit next, and you can give it whatever name you want. Now here's the different configurations, and I'll just kind of step through these quickly. So you got the CUCM 1000 user node, and you can see here this is saying to use Red Hat Enterprise Linux 6 64-bit, using 2 vCPUs with 800 megahertz hardware reservation, so reserve that specifically, and then same with the 6 gig of memory with full hardware reservation for that, and one disk at 80 gig. So if you wanted to build this manually, those are the specs that you would use. And I'll just tap through here so you can see the 2500 user, the 7500 user, the 10,000 user, and another 150. We'll use the 10,000 user, even though there's going to be like one. And let's see, we'll put it on here since thick. It's going to use most of the memory I have on here, but this is just for demo purposes. So then use whatever Ethernet adapter that is going to for your network, obviously. And we'll say finish. Insufficient space. I thought there was enough. Bummer. Okay. Because it said it was 110 and it says there's 120 free, but it's not going to let me do that. So let me do it on the network file system. So deploy OVF. Next. We wanted the 10,000 because we're just for fun. And change this back to VM network. Next. Finish. Now we can also then of course upload the file that we just created. That's now bootable, which was this one. Yes. Okay, and we'll wait for this to upload real quick. Alright, so now that we have that, we can go ahead and edit this. And we'll choose the hard drive, choose connect at power on, select the data store ISO file, which we uploaded to data store. Here it is, hit OK. And just so you guys know, when I mentioned earlier about the memory reservation, if you go over to resources here, so you've got your CPU, you can specify the hardware reservation, the megahertz reservation for the CPU and how much memory you want. So that's what I was referring to before on the template when I was saying it was using 800 megahertz, for example. This is where you would modify that. So now that we have all that, we'll hit OK, and now we can actually open this up and power it on. And I hear my son on the baby monitor, so I may have to pause, but he went back to sleep, so we'll see. Alright, now disk found, do we want to test the media? No, we'll go ahead and skip that. And most of this stuff is very similar to the previous versions if you've done any of the other ones. There's just a few steps that are different. And here we have we're going to install a Cisco Unified Communications Manager, so hit OK. And is this the version we want to install 11.5.1? Yes. Okay, now we'll go through this setup wizard, which is pretty much identical to the previous with a few differences. And we are not going to be applying a patch. We'll go through the basic install. Select the time zone. So far all this, oops, I'm not Dawson. There we go. Speed and duplex, can't change that in virtual through here. We'll keep the MTU size the same. Do we want to use DHCP? We'll say no. Give it a host name of CUCM 11-5, how about? And then we'll give it an IP address of 10.10.10.45. Subnet mask and gateway. And I don't need to use DNS. And then this user ID is what you would want to use for the CLI and SSH login. And then we can make whatever we want here. That's for your SSL certificates. And then, is this the first node in the cluster? Yes. And now, last time I used my home default router, and so just if you're not using your home router as a NTP server, one of the things that you can do here is just go ahead and go to ntp. Caps is on, doesn't matter I guess, but mtp.org, and go to the, so let me scooch this over here. So you go to the public time server lists, and then let's see, public NTP primary server. You could use an NTP pool as well, but just for this example, I'm going to go here. On the left, you have your country. So in my case, I'm going to go down to USA, and I want to look for an open access. So here's all the different US states, and you can just find one that's kind of in your area that's set up for open access. And I'll pick this one. And so here we have an IP address. So in here, I'm just going to put in the public address, and you can use whichever one for your own country. Hit OK. Then the security password, this is going to be for if you add another subscriber. Previously, when we were asked is this the first node in the cluster, we said yes. If we said no, one of the things we'd have to enter is the password, and this is of the publisher, and that's what we're going to do here. And I don't need a simple mail configured for this. Now this is for the SmartNet contracts. When you purchase the actual licenses, in this case I'm just going to say disable all call home on system start, because any of the licensing I'm going to do manually. I'm not going to have it auto register for that. Then the application username and password, this is what you're going to use for the HTTPS, the web GUI login. And then platform's complete, hit OK to continue. And other than a few different screens, it's going to be exactly the same as what you've seen before. It's going to go through and install the application. It's going to do the network connectivity checks, the NTP checks, and goes through the post installation tasks, and then boot to the CLI. And it does take a little while, so I am going to pause the video here, and I will return once it's toward the end of the install. Hey, welcome back guys. So I was going through the networks checks, and it says that the NTP server is not accessible. So let's bring up a command prompt, just make sure the device itself is working, and let's see, what do we try? 192.192.43.244.18. I'm not sure if these are set up for ping or not, but I'm just going to try a different server. How about, let's go to California. What's going on in California? So we'll try this one, hit OK. It's going to make us put in a new IP here. So we'll do, see, 164.67.62, 194. Uh-oh. I think my son's hungry. Okay, my son's upset about this, so let me take care of that, and I will pause the video and be right back. Okay, I'm back, guys. Apparently he does not like when NTP does not work on the first try. Or he could have been hungry, but I'm pretty sure it's because of the NTP. So where we left off is after I hit test, it now shows accessible. And just for grins, if we go ahead and try to ping it, 164.67.62, 194, it's responding. Okay, so now we will go ahead and go down to proceed, and now it's going to check the network time and get it synchronized with the external NTP time. Alright, we'll hit OK. It's going through the same questions from the beginning because technically it failed on the NTP state, so we're still going to say no for that. Disable. And looks like it lost the password on there. Configuring the network, which succeeded before. It was the NTP that failed. Updating the hosts. Restarting network. All this should succeed, no problem. This is where it bombed before, so it should succeed this time. Okay. Like I say, everything that you're seeing here is the same as every previous version of the appliance if you've installed any of the other versions before. I never got into the Windows version, but I started on version 7, so not too long ago, a few years back. So, alright, so now it's just going to continue with the install since all the other checks are good. So, I'm going to go ahead and pause this and come back toward the end of the install, unless there's another error for some reason, but we'll be back shortly. Alright, so we are back and it just finished the install, so all the services are probably coming up, but we should be able to log in now. Helps if you put in the right credentials. And one thing too is if you look at the processes, I think my son's upset again. Probably because the HTTP service isn't up yet. So if we go 10.10.10.45, it's not going to come up yet. As you can see, it's using 4.5 gigahertz. And usually once you see this ramp down, then the services are running. But it takes a little bit. See, what did I do with it? Come here, console. There we go. Oops. Show status. So we will just wait a little bit for this to boot. And we'll try to refresh this page here. Alright, so I'm just going to pause the video here for a moment. Okay, so now that we see that the host is calmed down a bit, let's try refreshing this page, and there we go. And we'll click on Cisco Unified Communications Manager and accept the self-sign certificates. And we can log into the administration first to verify we have our 60-day licenses. I checked, make sure my microphone was still on. Alright, so we can see we're on 11.5.1 and we have 60 days. And from here, if you want to, since we didn't set up DNS, right here is where you can remove the DNS reliance. So you put in the IP instead of the name. You can do the same thing for the enterprise parameters. On here, just change all these things to 10.10, 10.45, whatever the IP is. So that way when the phone gets the configuration, if you're not using DNS, that's where you do that. I'm not going to do them all, but you do that, hit save. And then of course one of the main things is to make sure you turn it on. So you can do that under the serviceability. And the nice thing with this is it should be single sign-on, because on version 8.6 you'd have to sign in again, but see, now this takes you right in. So you can go to your service activation to start up your call manager for call processing and your TFTP server, so you can get the phone configurations and firmware. So you can turn on call manager, TFTP. If you're going to use like Jabber, you can turn on your CTI manager. AXL, well, that's already checked. DirSync if you want to use LDAP, but I'll just hit save. This should start activating everything, and then you can start your configurations, obviously. So this was just a quick updated video from the 8.6 on how to install the version 11.5, and again, you know, making it the upgrade file bootables the same as before, just need a updated BIF file. And that's pretty much it. So hope this has been informative for you, and thank you for watching. See you next time.